Hello, 7th graders. Today we're looking at Chapter 1, Lesson 3, Subtracting Integers. These will be the solutions to pages 18 and 19 in your textbook. Remember, you are to be here only if you are seeking some extra help on a few questions, or if you are all finished and you're looking to check and correct all your solutions. If you're still in the middle of working, and you haven't finished, please finish your work before you come in and check your solutions. Okay, here we go. So number 1, how do you subtract one integer from another? So the solution I'm looking for number 1, okay, so the solution I'm looking for number 1 is change minus to plus and take the opposite of the next number. Okay, number 2. So two opposite integers for number 2. They can be literally any number as long as one is positive and one is negative. So I'm just going to use -2 and 2. You can use 5 and -5, 12 and -12. It doesn't really matter. Number 3, different words, same question. Which is different? And find both answers. So what I'm going to do for number 3 is number these A, B, C, and D, or letter them. A, B, C, and D. So for part A, what is the difference of 3 and -2? That's saying 3 minus -2. Okay, if we were to rewrite this, it would be 3 add the opposite, which would be 2, equals 5. Okay, for B, let's see if I can fit all this on the screen. For B, how much less is -2 than 3? So what that's saying is 3 minus -2 again. Okay, and just like part A, we're going to rewrite that in terms of addition. So 3 add opposite, and that equals 5. Okay, so there's part B. Okay, let's take a look at C. What is 3 less than -2? What this one is saying is -2 minus 3. So this is written as -2 add opposite, -3. So since the signs are the same, we add, we get -5. Okay, so there's C. And finally, D. Subtract -2 from 3. So there's 3. We're going to subtract -2 from it. What this is saying is 3 add opposite. 3 add opposite. Okay, and that equals 5. So if you notice, all of the solutions are 5 except letter C, which is this phrase here. What is 3 less than -2? So that's the different one. Okay, and the two solutions are 5 and -5. Okay, so that's all of number 3. That was a whole lot of fun there. Okay, number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Match the subtraction expression with the corresponding addition expression. So if we take a look at number 4, we have 9 minus -5. So we're not looking for the answer, we're just looking to rewrite it as addition. So 9 minus -5 is the same as 9 plus the opposite, which is 5. So which letter, A, B, C, or D, says 9 plus 5? So we have letter D. So the answer to number 4 is D. Kind of hard to write in these little spaces. Let's see, D. All right, good enough. Let me just cross this out. Number 5, we have -9 minus 5. All we're doing is trying to rewrite it in addition. So -9 add opposite. So which letter says -9 plus -5? And hopefully you're saying letter C. So the answer to number 5 is C. Number 6, we have -9 minus -5. So again, we're just looking to rewrite it. So -9 add opposite. So the opposite of -5 is 5. So which letter, A or B, says -9 plus 5? And that would be letter A. And we'll cross that out. And number 6, we all know it's letter B, but let's just take a look. We have 9 minus 5, and that's the same as 9. Add opposite, so the opposite of 5 is -5. So our solution for 7 is B. So we have D, C, A, and B. If you have any questions on any of these, please, make note, and we'll review them again later. Okay, the next section was 16 through 19 all. I do expect that you copy each question, rewrite them, and then use the rules of addition to solve. So everything you see on the screen is everything that I expect to see in your notebook. So let's begin. For number 16, we have -8 minus 13. I'm going to rewrite this in addition. So I'm going to make this plus, and I'm going to make this opposite. So -8 plus the opposite of 13 is -13. Okay, now remember the rules of addition. Are the signs the same? Are the signs different? So since they're the same, we're going to add 8 and 13. We get 21. And since they're both the same sign, we keep their common sign. Okay, let's go to number 17. I'm going to rewrite this as plus opposite. So 15 plus the opposite of 2, a -2, is 2. Now, these are two positives, so I'm just going to add them to get 17. Number 18, I have -9. The minus will be written as a plus, and I'm going to take the opposite of this guy to get 13. So take a look at what we just wrote in black. I have two integers with different signs. I'm going to subtract them and get 4. Which one of these integers gives me a bigger absolute value, the 9 or the 13? Hopefully you're saying 13, so my answer stays +4. And the last one, -7. Here's where I see a minus. I change it to plus, and I'm going to take the opposite of this, -8, which is 8. Since my signs are different, I subtract the two numbers to get 1. Now, who gives me a bigger absolute value? Hopefully you're saying the 8. So my final answer is 1. Okay, let's move on. So for number 24, here's another describing correct question. Remember, the easier way, and again, it's my opinion, to solve these kinds of questions is to first correct and then describe. It is very important that you describe and correct because that's what the question's asking you. These are very similar to Park-like questions, and it's great to get into the habit of addressing these questions now. So let's start with the correcting part. Most students will, and I know I said this in lesson 1.2, they'll look at the question and say there's something wrong with the question, but this is the question I'm asking you, even here in the question. So let's take 7 minus -12 and ignore the rest of the problem because you know there's an error in there. So let's try to solve it and then compare our work to the work that's written down. So 7 plus -12 is equal to 7. add the opposite. So that would just be 12. And then 7 plus 12, since they're both positives, we simply add them and keep positive. So now if we go back and look, they took 7 minus negative 12 and wrote 7 plus negative 12. Is that what we wrote here? So describe the error. The error was they never took the opposite of negative 12. And the solution should be 19, not negative 5. Okay, so that was number 24. Let's take a look at 25. Swimming pool. The floor of the shallow end of the swimming pool is at negative 3 feet. The floor at the deep end is at negative 9 feet, or is 9 feet deeper. Which expression can be used to find the depth at the deep end? So let's think about this. So, well, I don't like the way that's drawn. So we have a swimming pool that just gets deeper. Okay, this is the top of the pool. So over here, this is negative 3 feet. And as we continue to move down this pool, the depth gets deeper and deeper. So what they're saying is this part here is 9 feet deeper than this part over here. So what we're going to do is take negative 3 and take 9 feet away, or add negative 9 to it. So the expression that will work is this one right here. This is actually at negative 12 feet underwater because you're going down an extra 9 feet. Okay, number 26. A shark is at negative 80 feet. It swims up and jumps out of the water to a height of 15 feet. So at this point, the shark is out of the water at the 15-foot mark. Write a subtraction expression for the vertical distance the shark travels. So let's draw a number line so you can kind of visually see this problem. So, here's the ocean. The shark is down here. There's my shark. It's as good as I can draw. That's negative 80 feet. And what the shark does is it swims up and jumps out of the water to a height of 15 feet out of the water. So this is where the shark ends before it flops back into the water. So the question is, what is this distance? How much did he travel? Now remember what we talked about distance. So write a subtraction expression. So we're going to take 15 and subtract off negative 80. So minus can be rewritten as plus, opposite. So 15 plus 80, 95 feet. So the shark traveled 95 total feet from the bottom of the ocean all the way up till he came out of the water. Okay, so there's number 26. And number 27, evaluate the expression. So evaluate means to solve, find the solution. So negative 2 minus 7 plus 15. So remember, the key word we're looking for is minus. Anytime I see minus, I apply the rule of add and then take the opposite of the next number. Okay, so negative 2 minus right there. I'm going to change that to plus. Then I'm going to take the opposite of the next number. So the opposite of 7 is negative 7. Then my next operation is plus 15. I don't touch that because the operation here is not minus, it's plus. I'm going to take these two guys and add them because the signs are the same. So negative 7 and negative 2 make negative 9 plus 15. Now I have two different signs. I'm going to subtract 15 minus 9. I get 6. Now I need to determine, is it negative 6 or positive 6? So since this gives me a greater absolute value, my answer is positive 6. Okay, at any point, anything gives you trouble, make sure you're highlighting it or making note of those questions. Okay, 28 and 31, we're going to simply evaluate. Remember, evaluate is a fancy word for solve. So for 28, we have -9 plus 6 minus -2. So I'm going to rewrite any spot I see minus. So -9 plus 6 minus, that becomes plus. Then we take the opposite, which would be 2. Okay, what I'm going to do now is take these two and add them because they're both positives. So -9 plus 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, these two are different signs, so I'm going to simply subtract 9 and 8 to get 1. And now I need to decide, is my answer going to be negative or positive? Who gives me the bigger absolute value? 9 does, so I keep its sign. So final solution is -1. All right, and finally, let's take a look at 31 for this page. We have -6 minus -8 plus 6. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is rewrite -6. Here's my minus, so it becomes plus. Take the opposite of that guy. The opposite of -8 is 8. Let's write that meter. Plus 6. Now, keep in mind, so these two numbers underlined here are opposites. They're additive inverses to each other. And that's good news for you because this guy cancels this guy out. So I have 0 math left to do. My final answer is 8. You're welcome. Okay, next page, use mental math to solve. So we have something minus negative. That's the same as plus 3. Add opposite is equal to 7. So what number goes in the box? What plus 3 equals 7? The number missing is 4. Okay, next page. So here we're going to do 36 through 40. We're going to take these one at a time. So let's start with 36. So we're going to let k be -3, m is going to be -6, and n is going to be replaced with 9. So we have 4 minus, and this number here is n. So n is going to be 9. Let me rewrite this like this. So 4 minus 9. We first rewrite this as plus opposite. So 4 plus the opposite of 9 is -9. Now, you know the rules for adding. When the signs are the same, you add. But in this case, the signs are different. So let's subtract them. Do 9 minus 4, which gives you 5. Whose absolute is bigger, the 4 or the 9? This guy is bigger. So we're going to keep that sign. Okay, so the answer to 36 is -5. It is very important you show all of this work. Okay, so make sure that all the work I show you is written in your notebook. -37. We have m. Okay, and we're going to subtract -8. So we're going to put the value for m in here, which would be -6. And now we're going to rewrite -6. I see minus, that becomes plus. And we take this number and take the opposite. So take a look at what we wrote in blue. This is what we are solving now. So -6 plus 8, since the signs are different, we subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Who gives you a bigger absolute value, the 6 or the 8? Okay, this will give me an answer of 6. This will give me an answer of 8. So my final answer is 2. Okay, remember, make sure you're copying all work. Okay, so let's begin. we have -5 plus, we're going to put k in here. K is -3 minus, we're going to put n in here. N is 9. All right, students ask all the time, why do I use parentheses? Because sometimes there's negatives sprinkled all over the place. It just makes it easier to figure out what numbers go where with what sign. I'm going to rewrite the problem first. -5 plus -3. This guy becomes plus opposite -9. So all my numbers are negative. -5 plus -3 plus -9. That's great news. I can just add everything up and keep the sign negative. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 9 is 17. Final answer, -17. Okay, number 39. We're going to take the absolute value of m, -6, minus whatever k is. K is -3. And then we take the absolute value. So we are first going to do everything in here, get our answer, and take the absolute value of that number. So let's rewrite -6 plus opposite of -3 is 3. So we're going to solve this. -6 plus 3 signs are different. Let's subtract. We get 3. Now, is it +3 or -3? Well, this one gives me a bigger absolute than this one. Now, let's take the absolute value of -3, which equals 3. Okay, and the last one, we're going to look at the diagram. Platform diving. The figure shows a diver diving from a platform. The diver reaches a depth, that's a very important word, a depth of 4 meters into the water. What is the change in elevation of the diver? So the diver goes 11 feet and it stops underwater here at -4. So to figure out the depth, we take 11 minus -4, or 11 plus 4, add opposite. So the change in elevation is 15 feet. Okay. 42A is going to take some time and some patience, so please be ready. Everything that I show you on the screen is everything you see here in green on the screen is strictly for Part A. Part A is asking you to find the range of temperatures for each month. So like I told you on the website, Part A will have 12 solutions, 1 per month. So range, let's talk about that real quick. Range is take the high and minus the low, okay? It's the difference between the biggest and the smallest number. So we want to know the range for each month between the highest and lowest temperature. So I started everything off and we'll find the solutions together. So January, the high is 56. And we're going to subtract the low. So we're going to subtract -35. Please copy this down. So since this problem's written in subtraction, we're going to rewrite it in terms of addition. So 56. The minus becomes a plus, and then we take the opposite and get 35. So what we're going to do is take 56 and add 35. Okay, carry 1. 5 and 3 makes 8, plus 1 is 9. So the answer for my range for January is 91 degrees. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for February. Okay, so let's take a look at February. So for February, we're going to look at the chart here, and this is where I'm getting the numbers from. The high is 57 and the low is -38. So we're going to take 57, we're going to minus at negative 38. Okay, to solve, we take 57. We're going to change minus to plus and take the opposite of negative 38, which becomes positive 38. So 57 plus 38. 8 plus 7 is 15. 5 plus 3 is 8, plus 1 is 9. That's weird. Sorry, this should be 95. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for March and all the way to the end of the year. So for March, again, we're going to take a look up here. We're going to take these two numbers and find their range. We're going to take the big number minus the small number. So we're going to take 56 and minus negative 24. So that is equal to 56 add, and the opposite of this negative 24 is positive 24. So since they're both positives, we take 56 and 24 and just add them. 6 and 4 is 10. 5 and 2 is 7, plus 1 is 8. So we get an answer of 80. Okay. Now let's go to April. So April, we have 72 for high and negative 15 for low. So we have 72 minus negative 15. That becomes 72 plus the opposite. So let's take 72 and add 15. 5 and 2 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. So our answer is 87. Okay, here we go. For May, we have 82 and 1. So we have 82 minus 1. So if you notice, I didn't rewrite this one. You could rewrite it as 82 plus negative 1, but either way, we have to subtract. So 82 minus 1 is 81. So our answer here is 81 degrees. At this point, students get a little confused. They're like, wait a minute, how come I'm not rewriting it? Why aren't I adding? Well, if you notice here, I'm subtracting a negative, but that becomes positive. I'm subtracting a negative, and that becomes positive. I'm subtracting a negative, and that becomes positive. But here, if you take a look at May, if I rewrite that, it becomes 82 plus negative 1. My signs are now different, so I have to subtract. Okay, so that's what's happening. Okay, the pattern's still the same. I'm not playing tricks on you. Okay, let's take a look at the next. So now we have June. June is 92 and 29, so we're going to take 92 and subtract 29. So 92 minus 29. This becomes 8. This becomes 12. That's 3, and that's 6. So our solution here is 63. So what I'd like for you to do at this point is, if you had any trouble with this part of the assignment, this is all part A. I know it's a lot of work, but that's only answering part A. Try to finish July through December on your own, and then come back and check the solutions, and then we'll finish B and C together. All right, so here are the rest of the answers. For July, we'll take 84 minus 34, and we get 50. Okay. For August, we get 85 minus 31. We get 54. For September, we get 73 minus 19. Okay, that's 4, and that's 5, so we get 54. Okay, October, we get 64 plus 6, which equals 70. November, we get 62 plus 21, which equals 83. And December, we get 53 plus 36, which equals 89. Okay, that's all of part A right there. Part B, I'm going to do B up here in black. Part B says, what's the all-time high and all-time low temperature? So we're going to look just at this top row and find the biggest number. So here's 92. Anything bigger than 92? So the all-time high is 92. And now we need the all-time low, the absolute coldest weather. So I see negative 38. So anything lower than negative 38. So let's take a look here. Okay, so that seems to be the lowest. So the all-time low is negative 38. Okay, so there's your answer for B. And for C, C is saying, what is the range of the temperatures for part B? So what we're going to do for C is pretty much what we did for A, but we only have one set of numbers to work with. So we're going to take 92 minus negative 38. We're going to rewrite this as plus opposite. So let's see, 8 and 2 is 10, 9 and 1, 10. We get 130 degrees. So there you have it. You guys did a great job. You may move on to the next activity based on how you did on this activity.